Mayor Sisitsky gives his State of the City address. Geoffrey Epstein breaks down why he's entering the race to challenge the mayor, and a dive into what local stakeholders are doing to address climate change. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick, and this is The Frame, Framingham News in Focus. Hello and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. We begin with a recap of Mayor Charlie Sisitsky's State of the City speech, which was delivered this week at the Memorial Building. Residents and officials gathered at Nevins Hall on Monday the 27th to hear the annual address that touched upon different aspects of life here in Framingham, including achievements from the past year and challenges ahead.
Tonight, I am proud to report that the state of our city remains strong.
Sisitsky pointed to developments within the local school system and educational advancements for all ages, along with programs meant to progress sustainability and environmental protections locally. The mayor highlighted community gatherings that took place in 2024, adding that events such as Stars and Stripes over Framingham and celebrations of the community's 325th anniversary of establishment will be taking place this year as well. Sisitsky also took time to mention developments in local recreation, infrastructure, and public services.
I am encouraged by the progress we've made, but know there is still work to do. The challenges we face are not insurmountable if we work together.
Sisitsky went on to mention the MBTA Communities Act situation and efforts to fill vacant positions within various municipal boards and committees as ongoing topics he and his administration will address into 2025, a municipal election year here in Framingham. Sisitsky finished his annual speech by outlining what he called his motivation as mayor. In his words, the power of community.
I don't claim to have all the answers, but I commit to you that I will always work to ensure that our city is a place of promise, of progress, and of pride.
Another one of the topics that Sisitsky mentioned during the State of the City speech were concerns regarding federal policies on immigration. He said that municipal and state officials have been mobilized, along with local organizations and faith leaders, to develop the city's strategies. The mayor said he has reached out to the offices of U.S. Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, as well as U.S. Representative Catherine Clark. Framingham School Superintendent Dr. Robert Tremblay issued a written statement on January 22nd, addressing the scope of the authority given to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. In that memo, Tremblay wrote, quote, "Please be assured that as your superintendent, I will continue to stay in contact with the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents, and the Framingham Legislative Delegation, and will share any guidance that I receive with our families, staff, administrators, and school committee members as we all do our best to ensure protections for our students to the extent of the law." As we mentioned in last week's episode, former Framingham School Committee member Geoffrey Epstein has entered this year's race for mayor in the city against Sisitsky. He recently visited our studios to discuss his decision to run, a decision he said he's been mulling for about a year. He explained that priorities of his self-described insurgent campaign include a focus on education, infrastructure, environmental protection, workforce protection, and economic development. Here are just some of the excerpts of our conversation with Epstein.
I'm compelled to run. Framingham, I think, is degrading slowly, and either I leave or I stay and fight. My mandate would be, we want to fix all the problems in the city and not consider just cost, but value. As I'm not going to go around seeking endorsements from people. I'm not going to go around and say, well, please vote for me. I'm going to say, here's what I know about where we are, and here's the story of what we need.
More details on this year's State of the City address, as well as our interview with Epstein, can be found on our website, www.theframe.news. More articles about stories that matter to your community, along with feature pieces completed across Framingham, and a calendar full of upcoming local events can all be found there. Subscribe to our email newsletter to stay in the loop with Framingham News in Focus. Also, find us on social media. Our home on Instagram and X is @FrameNews_. Subscribe to Access Framingham's YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever a new episode of our weekly news program goes live. We're on Facebook too. You can find us by searching for The Frame there. Speaking of Framingham Public Schools, they're one of the beneficiaries of about $325,000 in state grants for reading instruction. The city's school district will be given roughly $15,000 for literacy resources provided to students from age 3 through the 3rd grade, thanks to the Partnership for Reading Success in Massachusetts, or PRISM, grant program. It's part of an effort by education officials to make literacy materials more accessible statewide. The State of the City address was not the only event held at Nevins Hall this week, as the Framingham High School wrestling team faced off against Braintree High Wednesday night at the Memorial Building. The City Hall Showdown, which was held at the Memorial Building to commemorate the city's 325th anniversary of incorporation, marked senior night for the co-ed Flyers squad. The Flyers were able to pull out the win in the meet against Braintree by a 40-30 final score. Congratulations to all of the Framingham High wrestlers, especially those seniors. And now finally this week, a preview of our Frame by Frame segment. Recently, the Danforth Art Museum hosted a panel discussion on what actions can be taken locally to address the impacts of climate change. To learn more, we spoke with multiple local stakeholders, including Amy Pawelka with Energize Framingham, to hear about actions already being taken here in the city, along with what else is needed within the community.
I stay hopeful really by doing things. It's the only way. If I couldn't take action of some sort, I would feel very discouraged. But I know there are things I can do.
That full Frame by Frame segment, as always, can be found on our website, theframe.news, along with Access Framingham's channel on YouTube. You won't want to miss it, especially if you want to learn how you can make a difference. That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. For everyone here at The Frame, thank you for tuning in. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.